If you've just bought an aquarium, you may be wondering, do Betta fish need a heater? If you're on the fence about buying a heater, then keep watching to learn about the optimal temperature your Betta fish thrive in, why temperature fluctuations are so dangerous, the fatal consequences of water that is too cold, how you can keep your tank warm if your heater breaks. You can skip to any information you want using the links below. Do Betta fish need a heater? You may have seen the pictures of Bettas in tiny fish bowls or sometimes cups, and you may be questioning whether Bettas need a heater or not. Well, Bettas come from a tropical climate, so you can probably guess the answer yourself. It's essential to make sure your Betta fish has a heater. Not only will it keep the temperature in the tank warm enough, it will also keep it warm consistently, which is vital for avoiding temperature shock, which can become fatal fast. In fact, one study found that the best way to increase your Betta's lifespan is to not only make sure they're in a big enough tank, to also ensure that the tank is being heated enough. How important is a heater for Bettas? If you don't have a heater for your Betta, then you should buy one at S&P. All fish are extremely sensitive to the temperature in their tank, and in particular, constant fluctuations. While a cold wind or draft may be a nuisance to you, over time they can prove fatal to your Betta. In fact, avoiding temperature shock is one of the best things you can do to keep your fish healthy. The only time you can get by without a heater is if the room your tank is in remains at a constant temperature. You may think your room does this, but have you taken into consideration that the temperature of your house drops at night and in the winter? What's the ideal temperature for Bettas? The ideal temperature range of the Betta tank is 78-8 deg-F. This is the temperature that is going to help keep your Betta in optimum health. However, Bettas will remain healthy anywhere between 76-82 deg-F. The danger comes when your temperature becomes too low or too high. If the temperature of your tank drops below 74 deg-F or goes above 85 deg-F, then it's going to severely impact your Betta's health. Most tropical fish are going to fit somewhere nicely in between these two wider temperatures as well. What will happen if your Betta gets too cold? When your Betta is in water that is below 74 deg-F, you're going to cause them serious distress, and eventually they will die. The first thing you will notice when your tank's temperature begins to drop is your Betta becoming sluggish. This is because his metabolism is slowing down as he tries to conserve energy. As your Betta increasingly becomes more stressed, you'll notice him stop eating. The whole time this is happening, his immune system is also weakening because of the added stress on his body. You'll begin to notice the color fading from his skin and scales. He may try to stay near the bottom of the tank or where any heat is, but it won't help. Now that his immune system is low, he'll be more prone to a bacterial or fungal infection. Some of the diseases and bacterial infections such as fin rot will be relatively easy to cure if you get the temperature back up and follow a proper care guide. While they could get a disease which is more serious like dropsy. As you can see, leaving your Betta in a tank full of cold water is extremely cruel. And if you're not 100% certain you can maintain a constant water temperature without a heater, then you need to get one. What will happen if a Betta gets too hot? If you're curious about what will happen when a Betta gets too hot, then the truth is over 85 deg-F your Betta will slowly begin to start overheating. The first sign you'll notice is your fish swimming erratically. Fish are cold-blooded animals and can only stay at the same temperature as their surroundings. The added heat will give them more energy. This sounds like a positive, but actually, it will cause your fish massive stress, weakening their immune system. If your tank is getting too hot, there are solutions. One thing you can do is let a fan blow over the top of the water. This is going to cause evaporation to happen at a faster rate, keeping your tank colder. And remember, in smaller tanks, it won't take much for the tank to overheat. In fact, even direct sunlight on a small tank can heat it up rapidly. What size heater should you get for your Betta's tank? To ensure there is warm water in your Betta's tank at all times, you should choose a heater that has 5 watts of power per gallon of water. For example, a 10-gallon tank will need a 50-watt heater, a 15-gallon tank will need a 75-watt heater, and so on. I found that when you get to much larger tanks, a good idea is to simply add more than one filter to the tank. They won't overheat the tank, as once the desired temperature is reached, they'll just turn off. How long will a Betta survive without a heater? There are so many different factors that go into whether a Betta can survive without a heater. For example, if the temperature of your room is above 78 deg-F, then your Betta is probably going to last a long time. But if it's too cold or your Betta is already sick, then it can be a matter of days before your Betta becomes extremely unhealthy. But once again, there are so many factors that should be taken into consideration, such as room temperature, the age of your Betta, how healthy your Betta is, how quickly the water temperature is dropping, etc. To master the art of Betta fish care, you need a comprehensive guide. Click here to read one. What else should your Betta's tank have? A thermometer will simply allow you to check that the water is the temperature it should be, so you know everything is alright. A filter, however, is much more essential. Filters are going to create a place for beneficial bacteria to live. This bacteria will keep the ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate levels in the aquarium water low, improving the water quality. So, do Betta fish need a heater? After reading this article, you should have a better understanding of why it's so important for your Betta fish to have a heater. Just as a quick reminder, here are the most important things you need to know. The ideal temperature for Betta fish is between 78-8 deg-F. This is the temperature in which they will really thrive. However, if your tank's temperature is between 74-85°F, they will still stay healthy. When the temperature of your tank drops below 74°F, then your fish will start to suffer. Its immune system will weaken and the most likely outcome will be a disease and then death. If your tank goes over 85°F, then your fish will start overheating, causing stress and eventually death. One of the best ways you can keep your fish tank at a stable temperature is to get a bigger one. When there's more water in a tank, it's harder for the temperature to fluctuate as much. If your heater breaks, there are a number of things you can do to keep it warm, such as floating a bag of hot water in it, wrapping it in an electric blanket, and moving it somewhere warmer. If your heater does break, it doesn't mean your Betta will get sick straight away. There are a lot of factors that will also contribute, such as age and the current strength of your Betta's immune system.